In this video, I will show you how to use hardware synths like this right here on the MPC Live Xfm. So the first thing we need to do is set up the MPC Live Xfm so we can use hardware. So press the menu button, then we'll press the cog wheel, and then we'll navigate to MIDI settings right here where it says MIDI and sync. And you'll see your input ports. Right now, there's nothing plugged up to the MPC Live Xfm, so you can't see anything. But what you need to do is enable MIDI ports when discovered. So hit that so you can get a check mark. And then the next thing you need to do is select this right here and set up either the MPC or remote. Right now, I'll have it on MPC. Then we need it to receive MIDI, so we're going to set up the receive MMC, and then set up a MIDI clock just in case we do some other things down the line. And then we want it to send MIDI, so send MIDI clock, send MMC. And sending MIDI clock means that whatever the BPM of the MPC Live Xfm is utilizing, it will translate through the MIDI cable into the hardware synth or groove box that you use. So that's what that means. There's a setting right here called MIDI clock. You can see it's on right now. You can turn it off. You can turn it on right here. And this is also how you access Ableton Link, which does about the same thing, but we'll talk about that in another video. I'm gonna turn it off for right now. And we'll go back into the main. Now let's start the process and talk about this right here, which is a hardware synth. This is the Sonicware Liven. I will have a link in the description box so you can get one yourself. It's pretty cheap. It's amazing though, and it's portable too. You don't need to plug this up. So on this hardware unit, you see you'll have MIDI in and MIDI out. So what you need to understand is how MIDI works. So if I want to send MIDI to this right here, this hardware synth, I need to wire it a certain way using this wire right here, which is a MIDI cable. So this MIDI cable will be utilized and sent from the MIDI out to the MIDI in of this unit right here, which is the Sonicware Liven. So let's connect it. So to get a better look at this unit right here, I'm gonna look at the back of this and show you. So you have a MIDI out right here. And the golden rule is if you want to send MIDI, then you need to select MIDI out and put it into the MIDI in. And then if you want to receive MIDI from a hardware unit, then you need to take the MIDI out of on said hardware unit and put it in the MIDI in. So you see the MIDI breakout cable right here? Let's go ahead and put it in the back of the MPC. And now we'll take this hardware unit right here, this hardware synth, which is amazing by the way. It's an 8-bit, kind of like a Sega Genesis sounding hardware synth for like, I think $200 or $300. And now I'll take this MIDI cable right here and plug it into the in. So let's go ahead and do that. And now when I go into my MPC ONE, I can go into the MIDI settings here. Now, if I press on the pad, nothing is happening, but there's one more step that I didn't tell you, and that you will need audio. So let's go ahead and grab an audio cable that is suitable for this. And I have the cable linked in the description box so you can get it. So this cable that I have right here is a send and return cable, but you can use it to transfer audio from a device into a interface. So what I need to do here, I'm gonna plug it up in the headphone jack. And I have it linked in the description box just in case you need one of these. You know, if you buy hardware or anything like that, you'll need cables, right? So let's go ahead and plug it up in the proper area. And we're here. We have hooked it up. Now, we still can't hear audio. And that's because of one other thing that we need to do. We need to select the MIDI port and I'll select MPC. And now I still can't hear anything. And that's because, and I'll show you what I need to do. I'm gonna go over here and access the sampler, then select in, and then go back to main. And now that we're back onto here, I need to turn up the synth so we can hear it. And I can play chords. There's one thing I want to point out. Make sure that you have the record level set high enough so it can hear the synth, and then also make sure that you have the volume up on your synthesizer so that way you won't drive yourself crazy. And now you're sending MIDI notes to the hardware synth, to the Sonicware Liven right now, which is in front of us. Now let's go ahead and record some stuff. Not the prettiest of melodies, but either way it'll work for this example. You also have access to changing like the patches, the sounds. Let's go ahead and do that. And you'll see it correlate, and you'll see it respond right here. So just in case you don't like any of the patches that you have, you can just select it on your MPC Live Xfm. So that's probably the coolest thing about it. Also, you can mess with your synth live and get whatever sound that you want to as well, without it being affected by the MIDI protocol inside of the MPC Live Xfm. So I want to show you this right here. So I have this progression. So I have this progression right here. And I want to play it inside of the MPC Live Xfm. So remember what I said. I need to put another wire right here where it says MIDI out into the MIDI in of the MPC so that it can record that. Because right now you might hear the sound, but it won't record it. So I'll overdub and show you. You see, it didn't record anything. So the next thing I need to do is grab another MIDI cable and hook it up to the MPC Live Xfm. Right now I have the MPC ONE in front of me. Now when I press on the MPC, I can see it's receiving MIDI right here. And there you have it. Now you know how to use MIDI inside of the MPC Live Xfm and send MIDI from hardware, at least the hard way. So what is the easier way to do this? What I'm going to do is unhook this from the MPC Live Xfm, and then I get another synthesizer. This is another special synth that I enjoy, and this is the Arturia Microfreak. And you can hook it up to the MPC Live Xfm or any other group box that can accept USB. So looking at the back of the unit, you see I can plug up audio via a 3.5mm jack or a 1/4" jack. So I will use the 1/4" jack because it is tied to the headphone jack as far as volume goes. And I will plug it up right here using this right here, a USB type B to type A. So I'm gonna plug it up here and it'll be able to send MIDI and power on via USB. So that is the perk of using synths like this. So let's record something in here. If you wanted to carry on and just make it like a drum beat or something like that, just go to another track. I'm gonna drop some drums on track number 2. So I'll just go ahead and select some drums real quick. Hit the browse button. All right, here we go. And then we have a drum line. And like that, you have learned the basics of using a hardware synth with the MPC Live Xfm. But how do you record stuff in and continue to make a beat and build upon a beat or something like that? Well, I'll show you that. So we have the sound. Let's turn it up a little bit. And what we need to do is go to another track. Now, workflow is important, and when you're working with the MPC Live Xfm, I personally wouldn't have did my drums on that track, but it doesn't matter. So what I'm gonna do is press the plus sign to create a new program. I will name this program after the Microfreak, so you know, for future purposes, I will be able to understand this is my Microfreak program. Now I hit do it, and this is what we're gonna do right here. So I'm going to record just these pads, or you know, how many pads I need so I can sequence a full out beat. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hit record. And now I have those pads, and then you see them light up right there. You're gonna see what I'm gonna do in the next process. So the next thing I'm gonna do is go into Shift and Looper on the MPC ONE, and now I have access to the looper, which is getting audio from this right here, which is the Microfreak. So the looper is a great tool, and I really enjoy it for a few reasons. One, I'm able to record anything live and continue to loop it, just like a real guitar looper would be like. However, the MPC looper has a bit of some good stuff. So the first thing is, if I want to add an effect, I can do so, and you will hear it. So I just added a spring reverb. I see the spring reverb. If I start it now, you can hear it affects that sound in real time. So if you wanted to do anything like that, or if you wanted to lo-fi it or something like that, you can add an effect to that sound in real time or later. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep that empty for right now. So I'm gonna make sure that this is set up to like 2 bars. And what I'm gonna do is just hit play start, and then hit record, and then record it. You see it record right here. Now, it's important that you do not have it on overdub or anything like that, because you don't need it to overdub. So you see that it says record to and so forth. And you can also choose to sync it. So that's another thing that I almost forgot to tell you. Now we can go into export and name that. I'll name that pad, since I like that. And then I could just turn the master down for right now, or the master of this synth, which is the Microfreak. And then I can choose a program. Let me go back real quick. So let's choose a program, and I choose Microfreak, and then I use this pad. And what it's gonna do is send that sound from the Microfreak into the drum program that I selected, which is the Microfreak right here. I'm gonna choose keep, clear, and let's listen. So no matter if I stop it or not, it's still here. And you see that the volume of this synth is down. So I can actually go to another sound. I'm just gonna pray that I have something good here. Let's go to strings for right now. And I can continue the process. So the next thing I'm gonna do here is go into the main screen, and then press program edit on the MPC ONE. You probably have to press shift and program edit if you're on the live. And then I can go and see the sample. The sample's right here. And I can continue to manipulate this sample in any way that I want. Like I can go into sample edit right here, and then I see the pad. And if I want to go through processes and normalize it to make it louder, I can do that. Or any other things, like I can time stretch it, pitch it out, whatever. The BPM is locked into here. You'll see that the BPM is locked into here, and that comes in handy just in case you want to do something like this right here, which is very important. So let's go into program edit, and let's choose warp. So warp is going to allow me to warp that sample that I've recorded in there, so I can do this right here. So let's go back into main, Go into BPM. Yeah, man, it really did happen. So now you see I can further manipulate the track and do whatever. But I'm gonna go back into 93 BPM for right now and go into track number 1 and mess with some of the sounds from the Microfreak and add some stuff. So record. Go into here, shift looper, a little bit, and I will clear and record. You can hit record at any time and it will start to record in the right place. Alright, now let's go into export. Go right back into that program called Microfreak. Select a new pad. Make sure you select a new pad. And then press keep. And then you can hit clear. And it's in your sequence. So let's go into main. And select solo. And now you can hear it.